Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are all healthy and safe at home. We are going to continue with our module 3, chapter 3, dual space. So basically in this chapter we are dealing with the corollaries of Hermann-Banach theorem, and we have done many corollaries related to Hermann-Banach theorem. Now we are moving on to the last corollary of this chapter related to Hermann-Banach theorem. Now let's just see what does this corollary state. Now corollary 3.1.10, that is I'm just reading the statement once. That is, let set x1 x2 etc xn subset of x be any linearly independent subset, then there exists f1 f2 etc fn element of x star, that is a dual space, such that fi xj is equal to delta ij. And every x element of span of xi is decomposed as x is equal to summation 1 to n fi of x xi. So what is this corollary stating? That is, if we have any linearly independent subset, okay, of the normed space X, corresponding to that subset we can always find a set of linear functionals in its dual space such that fi of xj is equal to delta ij. Now I hope you all are familiar with the delta function. That is, when I is equal to j, the value is 1, and when they are not equal, the value is 0. So we can always find set of linear functionals which satisfy this condition. And also this is the linear, if you are considering any element x which is in the span of this linearly independent set that we have given, okay, then we can always find if x is a span, x is an element of span of that set, then clearly x can be written as the linear combination of x1 x2 etc xn, and in that the constants will be precisely these linear functionals. That is, x will be equal to summation I equal to 1 to n fi of x into xi. This fi is the function that we have obtained. Okay, so I hope that the corollary is clear. That is, corresponding to any linearly independent subset we can always find a set of linear functionals such that it satisfies the following condition, that is fi of xj is equal to delta ij, and when any element in the span of xi can be written as summation fi of x into xi, that is, the constants will be nothing but the linear functionals. So now let's see how we can go on to the proof of this corollary. So for this, first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to consider an integer I dot. That is, we are given the set x1 x2 etc xn is linearly independent subset of x, the norm space. Now I'm going to fix an integer I dot, okay, and let us suppose that li dot is nothing but the span of all xi's except xi dot. Is this clear? That is, I am fixing an integer I dot, and corresponding to this integer I am forming a set li dot, okay, that is nothing but the span of all these elements except that I dot. Xi dot will not be here. x1 x2 etc up to xn, every elements will be there except xi dot. Okay, so I'll write it more clearly. That is, xi dot is not an element of li dot. So this is how we are forming the set li dot. Now with the help of this and the previous corollary, we will prove the theorem. So from this it is clear that li dot is finite dimensional, right? We are having only finite number of elements, right? Fine, it is finite dimensional because the linearly independent set is from x1 x2 etc up to xn, so that is finite. So li dot is also finite dimensional. Now since xi dot is not an element of Li dot, I can consider that the distance from this, okay, from this I can obtain that the distance of xi dot and Li dot will be some positive integer, say d, okay, right? So if you recall the corollaries that we have done in corollary 3.1.7, in corollary 3.1.7, if we have one element which is not in the subset and its distance such that its distance is equal to some positive integer d, then we can always find a linear functional, right? So I am writing it again. So by corollary 3.1.7, there exists fi dot, okay, because I'm corresponding to I dot, that's fine, which is an element of x star, that is, it is a linear functional such that its norm is equal to 1, okay, and fi dot acting on Li dot will give us 0, and fi dot acting on xi dot will be the distance, okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to choose d is equal to 1, okay. Now since 1 is greater than 0, so I can clearly choose d is equal to 1. So what happens, this implies we get fi dot acting on Li dot is 0 and fi dot, whenever it is acting on fi dot of xi dot is 1. So I hope this is clear. See, that is in Li dot we have every elements x1, x2, etc., xn except xi dot. So fi dot of, I'm writing it, x1 will be 0, fi dot of x2 will be 0, fi dot of xi also will be 0, and all the terms, that is fi dot of, like this going on up to fi dot of xn will be 0, but fi dot of xi dot will be 1. So we'll get a function such that it is equal to delta ij, right? So we obtain fi of xj will be nothing but delta ij. It's just the notation, instead of I dot we can have I, okay. So instead of fixing the integer I dot, if I fix I, I'll obtain this function. So it is just the I dot element, or the term I dot is just integer, any integer, it is random integer. So we'll obtain, using the corollary 3.1.7, we'll obtain a linear functional such that which satisfies this condition. Now we have to prove one more thing, right? So let us see what we have to prove. So let us suppose that x is an element of the span of xi's. Then we have to see that when we write it as a linear combination, the constants will be nothing but the linear functional that we have obtained. Now if x is element of span of xi, then I can write x is equal to some linear combination of xi, right? Now let me add fi dot, or say fi dot of x on both the sides. So this will be fi dot of summation aixi, and fi dot is a linear functional, so I can take summation ai common, and this will be fi dot of xi, right? Now by the definition of fi dot of xi, this value, there is a variation of I from 1 to n, right? So this is equal to 1 only when I is equal to I dot, and all other terms, all other values of I, we will get fi dot of xi will be 0. So in all other terms it will be 0. The only term that will be remaining will be ai dot, right? Because all other terms, by the definition, all other terms will be 0. So we get fi dot of x is nothing but ai dot. So in general, what we can say that fi of x is nothing but the ai. So we had chosen x is equal to summation ai xi. So this is nothing but summation fi of x into xi. Okay, so this is what we had to prove in that corollary. It is that we had to show that corresponding to any linearly independent subset of x, we can always find a set of linear functionals which satisfies the following conditions. So I hope the proof is clear. So with this we shall wind up today's session. Thank you. Stay home and stay safe.